Welcome, welcome, welcome to this week's edition of Stroke of Genius. This week we have a very special guest, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But I also wanted to tell you about some other stuff that's going on here with not only Stroke of Genius, but also our other show, Vision Alignment, where we talk with people about their own vision and how important it is to understand your vision. So next Thursday, October 29th, we're going to have the one and only Dan Miller, the author of 48 Days to the Job You Love. A great author, Pulitzer Prize, not Pulitzer, New York Times bestseller, let's say that. So that is a great show that's going to be coming up here Thursday. So without any further ado, I want to bring on our guest today, and that is Michael Ray, and he has a special guest with him, Maddie.
Say what's up. Say hey. Say hi. Hey, huh? Hey, blow them kisses. Come on.
Oh, thank you.
Right, girl? Huh?
That is awesome. Very cool.
Good morning, man. How you doing, brother?
I'm great, Michael. How are you?
I'm outstanding, man. I'm absolutely great. Thank you for asking.
Good. Just so glad to hear that. So tell me a little bit about your story. You're in Maddie's story. So I know you do a lot with bringing happiness to everybody and making everybody be so happy that when the other people see them, other people get happy too. I think that's how that goes, right?
Be so happy that when someone else sees you, they become happy too. That is correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the other stuff that's going on in your world, especially with Maddie.
So yeah, I guess on some level we love to be the reason why people smile. A great example. So I started 2.5 years ago, for anyone who doesn't know, and it was really because of, where's my finger? Because of this person right here, and how her smile impacted my life, and then the intersection of a stranger smiling with me. So for the first 1.5 years, it was all about taking pictures with strangers, smiling. And then it evolved in, if you really wanted to be the reason why someone smiled, well, let's see how that looks if we started doing random acts of kindness to show people that we love them and to make them smile. And that's when really, the platform was beautiful, but it evolved into something, as I say now, that is much bigger than me. At first, when we first started making people smile, we were very intentional in that we didn't know who it was. We just put ourselves in situations and, really tried to find an absolute stranger. And then as we started sharing that with the world, and the world started watching our videos, then people started reaching out and telling us a story of why someone else needed a smile to feel loved and needed kindness in their life. And really, it doesn't get any realer than this, but Maddie and I are going to do one this afternoon.
Oh, really?
And it happens to be for a mother who's in her mid-30s, just had her second child about 5 months ago in the pandemic, but literally, you can't make this up, just recently found out she has an aneurysm. Oh. And she's going to need surgery. And so it's one of those things, it really covers the gamut and all the different people that we choose to go make smile. Some are easier than others. But I often tell people, we smile and make others smile because life can be hard. And even, a mother of 2 children who's on the doorstep of having surgery. So we're going to try to do a couple of things today, make her smile, feel loved, and then, really just appeal to the community that I have to kind of keep her and her family in their thoughts and prayers as she kind of goes down this journey the next couple of weeks.
Wow. Well, that's awesome work you're doing. I'm just so appreciative of everything you've done with that. And it also makes me wonder about Maddie and how she gets involved. I love to see her getting involved in the videos and blowing kisses and all that. That's awesome. It's really, really awesome and inspiring. So how does that work as a caregiver? So the show Stroke of Genius is all about helping people to understand their disabilities, and sometimes we don't really need to view them as disabilities. They're just who we are. And then also, how does it affect their caregivers? So what the caregivers are going through, how do they need to understand more about themselves and help to relate that to the caregiver? So you, as your caregiver for Maddie, how do you go on about your day and making sure that she has what she needs to be productive?
Well, and you're right. And what happens a lot of times, Brian, is that 99% of the people out there that kind of watch what we do see the love, joy, and happiness that comes from it. And don't get me wrong, I mean, that's what we're really trying to display to the world. But yet, there are so many other moving pieces that go on behind the scenes to basically care for somebody that has an intellectual disability. Um, and and as beautiful as she does have other challenges. Primarily, again, you're nonverbal. Feeding challenges. And when I say feeding challenges, I mean, look, we've done it for 20 years, but her food has to be pureed. So it's normal for us.
Yeah.
But yet we have to be mindful as we go through the course of her day, and or if we're choosing to run errands and we're out and about, it's not as easy as about thinking about what those choices are as far as what she can eat. But you alluded to something, that again, I'd like to think we're all perfect in our own right because we're an image of God and made by God. But yet, it's hard now, not to look at it from a society perspective that people can choose to look at her differently. And that's just that outward appearance. But yet I've often sat here and had these thoughts and try to share with again, my community that she actually is probably one of the most perfect human beings that I've ever seen, met, encountered, and have been blessed to be her father. And I say that because, first and foremost, she's probably the closest thing to Christ I've ever known. And that's just because I don't know if this little girl's ever sinned. So to go through 20.
Oops, we lost you. Oh, hey, Michael.
You there?
Yeah, we're here again.
Okay, 20 plus years of life and never have consciously sinned. I mean, come on now. So, from there, I see things like I don't think she experiences fear, stress, and anxiety in life like you and I do. Mm-hmm. And she finds such immense joy and happiness in the simplicity of life. And that simplicity truly, as I see and feel it, is in the relationships that she has. So it's as if she wakes up eternally happy and doesn't have to have that stress and anxiety of going, how am I chasing and finding that today?
Yeah.
It's just here. So then, again, a stranger may look at her and try to process, well, that girl has Down syndrome and can't talk and knows she can't read, but yet is probably already punched her ticket to heaven and is the closest thing to perfection I've ever seen in my lifetime.
That is absolutely awesome. I love that so much. I mean, I can't tell you how much of an inspiration you are, but to have Maddie with you and seeing what she's going through, I'm just so happy and thankful to have you in my life. I mean, it's been a huge blessing for me, and I know a lot of our listeners on the call here today, are blessed as well. So thank you for that.
No, you're welcome. But a lot of times it's hard to process that praise because honestly, look, man, I'm just the dad. I'm just the dad who has infinite love for not only my daughter here, but my 3 other children. Yeah. And I just think that's the way life should be, Yeah. So I'm just a dude out here trying to share the love of his child and in that spirit through how I evolved as a man and father through my relationship with her.
Mm-hmm. No, that's cool. So some people are joining us here. So good morning, Wes says.
Morning, Wes. What's up, brother?
He's a good dude. So, I think about what you said and how important it is for us all to understand. But I guess my thought is, I think back to Martin Luther King and how he had a dream. He had a dream that all men would be created equal. Now, I think he was speaking more to the African American movement and what's going on there. But I think about it from intellectual and developmental disabilities. Wouldn't it be nice if they could all be treated as equals? They could all be, treated as just a normal man. Just a dad. Like, you're just a dad. You're just a daughter. Just whatever.
Again, I think you're singing, when you go back and what was going through, Dr. King's mind, probably that was a byproduct, but I think, him being a man of God, he was just trying to preach to the world that, look, the reality of it is, regardless of who you are, what your circumstances are, that, love transcends color. It transcends intellectual disabilities, or any disability, you may have. And I think when you're created by God, and this is what I often try to tell people too. And again, I do think that was primarily the message of Dr. King. And that is, if you can find a center and lead from a place of love, then you know what? You don't see color. You don't see Down syndrome. You don't see the imperfections that society wants to tell you that you need to see, with everybody else. And especially in a day and time in which we're operating, look, you and I are probably near the same age. We're operating with just a weird set of circumstances. 2020 has been an amazingly bizarre year, but yet I think that, if you can find that mindset of love, again, you can treat other human beings with such empathy and kindness. And, if you can look at the world like Maddie, and I said this early on, I'm like, hell far, you don't even know a damn pandemic's going on.
She doesn't care.
Again, she doesn't care because she doesn't care if she has to hang at home with family, because that's what brings her such joy and happiness. It's not the stress and the anxiety of the grind or the fear of catching the virus. She doesn't process life that way.
Isn't that awesome?
And it is on some level an amazing gift and I think that's why God gives us, children and adults with Down syndrome, because they come from such a place of amazing love and look at life differently. And I think on some level, we learn hate, we learn racism, we learn all this divisiveness, rather people like Maddie. And look, I've met so many other, obviously, in her lifetime, amazing people with Down syndrome. It's just a place of love. They don't see what we see.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful, because we talk so much about it, but when it comes right down to it, we kind of give up on love at certain points of our day. We get so mired in what it is we're doing, or so mired in making money and all this. We kind of lose sight of that. And I think that it's definitely inspirational that you can have somebody like Maddie with you that can remind you of it every day.
It's it is, and I think again, you don't need that Maddie in your life to think that way. Yes, I am blessed that I have, but that's really on some level what I'm really trying to inspire and impact the lives of others. Is that you can think differently. And look, I'm the first person to sit here and admit, as I evolved as a father and man, is that I went through the motions probably the first 10 years of Maddie's life. I say that in which it doesn't mean I was a bad father by any stretch, but I looked at things so different. And I chased happiness, and I chased happiness through things rather than as a set of circumstances in my life. And again, all of those hardships and challenges, it centered me to come back to really what was important. And it was this one constant that I kept having in my life. And I often laugh and tell her, and what's amazing, Brian, is being nonverbal. I have conversations with my daughter in which she can never repeat. You know, and I tell her at times, and I posted this to social media yesterday and today, and that is, I quietly tell her at times going, thank you for saving my life. Because truly on some level, she did.
Yeah.
You know, she did. And again, all of those people are in your life, whether it's family or friends. And I say this a lot of times to my kids and friends, and even on my platform, you know, we make choices. We make choices in life, and you could choose to be happy because it's right there in front of you. You don't have to go chase it through the material things that we think define happiness, because they're empty.
Yeah, if we all just slow down. I mean, I think about that for myself. This morning it was kind of a hectic morning. Yesterday was hectic. You know, I think about it, and this talk, just the last few minutes of talking with you has allowed me to just slow down, look at life differently. Because I mean, that's what I should be doing. I should be focused on my marriage. I should be focused on my 3 kids. You know what they're doing, and yeah. Still, we still need to make money. It's important.
Yes, of course, of course.
But don't lose.
Yeah, you know, of course, in saying all of that, I'm not trying to diminish, you know, the value of money in life, and again, what good it can do.
Mm-hmm.
So most certainly, but you know, look, don't worship what money can do, because it's not about, you know, to me, I don't think you know, money can't buy happiness. You know, more often than not, it leaves you empty. But yeah, money can provide a lot of good too, man. You need it to live, and you know, so
yeah. No, that's for sure. So I guess I'd like to talk a little bit more about what else you go through as a caregiver. You can have conversations with Maddie, one-way conversations, I think.
yeah.
But there's also this piece about helping her to go through her daily life. So you talked about pureeing her food. Are there other things that she knows she needs, and she will tell you, but you in her own way?
So yes. So one interesting characteristic about Maddie is she craves attention. Now, the interesting piece of that is that in craving attention, that means she also craves negative reinforcement. Because again, it's attention. So sometimes the simplicity of, now she fully knows how to go to the bathroom herself. So when I say she's nonverbal, I don't know. She might say 5 or 6 singular words. She can't put multiple words together, but yet she can tell me potty. So again, from a negative reinforcement perspective, she will tell me potty, and then I'll be like, okay, we'll go. But yet then it becomes a game. It becomes a game in which, you know, even though I've told her to get off her backside and go to the bathroom, about 10 seconds later, she'll go potty. And I'm like, okay. And it may happen 5 or 6 times to where then I have to playfully get more stern and loud with her, like, get off your ass and go to the bathroom. And then what does she do? She does it, but again, it's a game to her, because that attention and that negative reinforcement to where it builds to that point, you know, to where you keep telling her, you know, she can't take a shower by herself. Hell, that's awkward as a dad. You know, and I'm a divorced father, so when it means I have her half the time, the reality of it is, it means I am bathing a grown-ass woman. You know, that's my daughter. So, she knows how to get undressed and get into the shower, but it's complicated for her to do what she needs to do to get clean. So that's another step in life that we have to manage. Even as a 21-year-old young woman, she still wears pull-ups to bed.
Sure.
And probably 2/3 of the time she doesn't have an accident. But there are those moments that she wakes up and she's had accidents. But it's it's part of that routine. And you when you ask this question, you started it early. She does comprehend. So if I told her right now, and this is what she was doing before I brought her on, she loves being creative in doing things that pertain to that as far as art and coloring and stuff. So she was sitting at the kitchen table and she was coloring with her markers. Now, if I told her to get up and go back in the kitchen and sit at the table and color, she would do that. So again, she understands, or I said, Maddie, go into the kitchen and empty the dishwasher. She would do that. And let me just tell you something beautiful about that is because if I asked her to empty the dishwasher 20 times a day, she would do it, not give me any grief. But if I asked my 14-year-old son to do it, he probably would lose his mind on the first time I asked him to do it.
Oh yeah, because he was busy doing something else.
But again, that is sometimes the beauty of Maddie, because she finds such meaning in the simple things in life. So even if it was, hey, all right, go vacuum the carpets or empty the dishwasher or fold this basket of towels, she finds such joy in doing those things. So again, she does comprehend, even though she can't turn around and tell me. And really, that is the foundation of what I do, because I tell people, the genesis of this story, it all does go back to, as a parent, we take for granted those 3 simple words, I love you, we hear from our kids.
Yeah.
And I never have, but I always got that affirmation, when I asked her, do you love daddy? And we play. And then it always was about the smiles, so I got the affirmation through the love of a smile from my daughter. Yeah. Even though she couldn't reciprocate and say, I love you, Dad.
Well, she has a beautiful smile. I love it.
Right, girl? Hey, say hey. Say hey. Hey. Oh, come on, you goober.
I think
so,
that...
it is. But again, even through all of those things, and their challenges, I guess we just choose. Again, when you choose to be happy, we just look at it differently. So if she wakes up in the morning and had an accident and went number 2, it just means, all right, get your ass to the shower, girl. You can't eat breakfast first, or watch your iPad. We got to have a cleanup on aisle 3.
What does she do on her iPad?
So, a lot. So when she was going to school, there are applications in which she did learn how to communicate a little bit. So she'd have a screen up and, you could ask her a series of questions and she could look. And then most of the time, it wasn't foolproof. She could hit something and actually answer it for you. But now, now that she's 21 and out of school, she has a series of shows, and this is not uncommon because I made a 20-year-old girl with Down syndrome the other night who's celebrating her birthday smile. And, sometimes they love repetition in some of the same things, and Maddie's no different. So when you ask what she likes to watch on her iPad, it's Monsters Inc., it's Shrek, it's iCarly, it's Hannah Montana, you know. So she's an absolute crazy fan of SpongeBob, you know.
Who is it?
It's nuts because sometimes it's the insane repetition.
Yeah.
You know, to where she'll watch the same, to the point again going, would you please, I've already heard that 1,000 times. Would you watch something else or let the scene go through because I've heard it 16 times in the last 20 minutes?
Uh-huh. I think she thinks that's funny.
She does think it's funny, yes. Right, girl? But, you know, even again, you know, most 21-year-olds, you drive them crazy if you just did very simple things like round and round the garden, you know, or, you know, this little piggy. And I still to this day do it with her. And it's kind of like our thing. And she just finds a place of crazy laughter, you know, and I've done it thousands of times. So it just doesn't get old.
That reminds me of my own kids. I mean, I used to read to my kids at night, and we'd read different stories, and I would take on different voices of people, and they absolutely you can still do that.
You know what it does, and again, I'm being very sincere when I say this. You know, when our morning routine started today, she came in for probably 20 minutes and climbed in bed before breakfast and was watching her iPad. And I just started doing round and around the garden. Because it doesn't get old. And I guess, you know, I can't do it to my 14-year-old son. There's that moment in time in which, you know, those things wear off as parents. You know, but I can always still go back with her and constantly revisit these moments. And I could do it if I want to 10 times a day, and it never gets old.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm going to ask a question, but think about before you go into this. I want to know about round around the garden because I don't really know what that is.
Yeah.
But before we go into that, I want to ask our viewers here if you would have any questions you'd like to ask Michael or even Maddie. You know, let us know and we'll answer them. We got a couple minutes here, so. First, I want to hear about round and round the garden.
All right, so here's how it goes. So wait, let's get the hand on camera. All right, you ready? Here we go. Round and round the garden like a teddy bear. One step, two step. Hey, look, it's Chevy's. And it's usually what happens is she knows. So she's nonverbal, but if you heard her there audibly, she was saying one step, but it's not articulated. I often laugh to her at times. I'm like, Maddie, you speak in tongues, you know, nobody. But because we've done that enough, I know what she's saying. That in her mind, she's saying one step, two step, and then she loses her mind because she knows she's getting tickled on the third step.
That's beautiful. Very cool. Well, I love it. I don't see any questions coming in, so I don't think we have any questions. But tell us a little bit about what. Obviously, you're going to do something today. You're going to go on to help the mother of two young children, in her 30s, that's going through some really hard times. But what else is going on for you? Kind of what's the weekend look like?
So what's the weekend look like? That's a great question because I guess some of it this time of year is defined by weather because we love being outside. So tomorrow is probably a little bit of football with my 14-year-old son.
Oh, awesome.
I think I mean, the last 3 days, I know you're in Columbus, I'm in Louisville, but it's been, I think today's near 80. But then it's supposed to turn back to fall tomorrow, like 55, rainy and cool. Right. And but generally, I mean, if it's nice enough, we like to throw a fire outside at night. We like to hang outside and be together. Actually, tomorrow night's a big night because Maddie's oldest sister turned 24 today.
Oh, wow.
So we have a family dinner tomorrow night, with everybody. So it'll be a big day tomorrow night to celebrate her.
Huh. Yeah. Well, that's good. So when you say football, is that normally watching football or playing football?
So when it comes to playing, it's a little bit of both, but I'll be specific. So it's mostly watching. But my 14-year-old son will be, all right, Dad, the first quarter's over. Let's go and throw it around for 10 minutes. So we go out in the backyard, we huck it around for 10 minutes, then it's halftime, and then we may go back out again. So no, we're not out there tackling and playing 3-on-3 or something, but he's in the backyard kind of running routes and I'm throwing to him, and it's just a nice little break in between the action.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Do they get involved with helping out with Maddie?
Oh, big time. Big time. Yeah. Look, it's a group effort because I can't always be doing it. So her siblings, I often laugh and say I own 4 kids. So she's got bookends. She also has a 19-year-old sister, and then again, my 14-year-old son. So it truly is, kind of a family and group effort unless there's accidents and things. But when it comes to other things, honestly, not just my kids, but my entire family, of course, they've been along for the entire ride so that they understand and get it. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great family functions.
That's right, man.
Cool. Awesome.
Lots of people.
Well, that's good. Lots of people to enjoy and have a good time. So
it is, man.
That's awesome. Hey, I'm going to close this out, but if you would hang on, that would be great, and we'll talk a little bit after. But thank you very much for joining us today on Genius. And Michael and Maddie, say goodbye. All right, take care. See you, Maddie.
Say bye.
Bye, Michael.
Bye.
Bye.
There you go. Nice job. Thank you.